All right, guys, it's the Cover Price Top 10. We're going back 3 years. All right, guys, we're going to get into this list. If you're new to the channel, what we do is we take the Cover Price top 10 books from 3 years ago. We talk about the value, where were those books valued then, and what is the current value now? Were these books a boost or were they a bust? Before we get into it, you know what to do. The thumbs up, the subscribe button, the comments down below. And of course, I have to talk about Whatnot, guys. Give me a follow on there for the rest of the month of July. For the rest of July, I'll be down there Monday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. Monday of next week, Star Wars starting at 8. We go from about 8 to 9:30 or so East time. And then starting in August, it is Attack on Tuesday. Myself, my man Erod, Davis Writer, will give you a Tuesday night lineup, and it's going to be a blast starting at 7 o'clock Eastern until I don't know what time Davis wants to start. 7 to 8:30, Erod's going. 8:30 to 10 will be myself, and then Davis Writer takes off till, who knows, this guy. He's a party animal. But anyway, let's get into this Cover Price list. And again, this list comes to us from our friends over at Cover Price. Let's start out at number 10. This is Venom number 3, the third print. Remember Null? Well, remember 3 years ago, he was just starting to trend. There was some early market attention when he first appeared in 2018. However, his appearance in Silver Surfer Black helped bring back sales for his first. The market determined that this was the go-to book for his first appearance key. It was trending at $25 raw and $150 for a 9.8. Flash forward 3 years, we now know that Null went nuts. During Null's height in 2020, 9.8s hit a high of $900, with raw copy selling for $500. After he died at the end of Donny Cates' King in Black series, the market value dropped significantly. Yet due to hopeful wishes to see Null introduced into Sony's Spidey content, prices have gone up. The raw fair market value currently sits at $266, with some high-grade copies still reaching $400. 9.8s have a fair market value of $596. While these are all lower than 2020 highs, when you look at 3 years ago, this is still a huge win. This is a boost, absolutely, but I also don't think these books will go that much higher. And the reason I say that is because Sony screws up everything they touch. Try to argue. Craven the Animal Lover. Just, that's enough. Let's go to number 9. This is The Incredible Hulk 181. The acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney was announced on December 14th, 2017, and was completed on March 20th, 2019. So 3 years ago, X-Men heat was cranked up in a big way. The immediate question was regarding Wolverine. When will we see him? Just this conversation lit a fire under collectors who long waited to pick up his first full appearance. A nod to you Hulk 180 fans. 3 years ago, in July of 2019, the largest amount of copies sold in 1 week, with the highlight being a 9.2 selling for $7,300. Raws in the same grade around $1,450. 3 years later, there's no character more anticipated in the MCU than Wolverine. His first appearance value has jumped across all grades, yet when comparing it to the same grades 3 years ago, 4.0 Raws now sell for $31.45, and CGC 4.0s sell for $13,000. This is a boost. There is nothing really to be said about Hulk 181. This is the big, giant Bronze Age book, whether it's Marvel or DC. This is it. This is your Bronze Age grail. First full appearance of Wolverine is Hulk 181. Hulk 180, of course, gets the cameo love. Hulk 180 also has some value. 181 is the go-to book. Doesn't matter what you think or how you feel, the market has dictated that 181 is the book to own. I don't get in the arguments. I'm just telling you, that's what the market has dictated. Let's go down to number 8. This is Batman Damned number 1. Batman Damned was the hottest book in 2018. It took over Cover Price's top 10 for over 3 months. Everyone needed a bat penis in their lives. When everyone thought it was done, the delayed Batman Damned number 3 made collectors once again chase the first issue, had raws reaching $80, high sale of $300 for CGC 10s. 3 years later, 9 9s and 10s of Batman Damned were a dime a dozen. It was so common that they sold for incredibly low prices, yet raw sales were steady and relatively high, which made it an easy flip for collectors. So after all that heat, what does it look like 3 years later? Well, not bad, actually. Raw copies sell for a fair market value of $50. 10s now sell for $460. Granted, CGC seems to be handing out less of these high grades, and 9/8 sell for $80. So slight bust raw, boost graded. Not bad for one of the biggest flavors of the week ever, and it held. I am shocked. One other thing this book does have going for it, I believe it was the first black label by DC. So there's a little bit. How much is that pushing up the price? I have no idea. I'll be honest, I'm very surprised that these things are holding at $460 for 10s. I'm very, very surprised. So, and if these prices are holding and you want it, you just wait. I would say wait. I still say prices may come down. Let's go to number 7. Inhumans number 5 features the first appearance of Yelena Belova, who 3 years ago we knew would be playing the new Black Widow in the MCU. It trended at a raw fair market value of $50 with a high sale of $306 for a 9/8. 3 years later, Florence Pugh stole the show in Marvel's Black Widow and Disney Plus's Hawkeye series. It's clear that she'll be a fun member of the Thunderbolts, leaving this book plenty of room still to grow. Today, raws sell for a fair market value of $84, 9/8s at $622. This is a boost, and this is a great book. I remember doing a show, and I had 3 copies, and they were sold within the first hour. That was about 2 years ago. Not 2 years ago, because that was the first show after COVID. Terrificon of last year. So a year ago. Go on. 3 copies, 1 hour, done. Let's go to number 6. Omega Men number 3. Once upon a time, Lobo was set to appear in his own feature film. The project was in development for over 10 years, with names like Dwayne Johnson and Michael Bay once swirling around. With new whispers of progress, the first appearance of the main man trended at a raw fair market value of $75, with a high sale of $300 for CGC 9/8. 3 years later, we now know this project was scrapped to make way for Black Adam. While there's still plenty of potential to see Lobo, his first appearance is still a key to his many fans. The market value may be a bust 3 years later, but still a big one. Raw's trend at $58, 9/8 sell for less than $280. Probably a good purchase in that range. I do see this book all over the place. I don't see 9/8s all over the place, but I do see Omega Men 3 quite often, more often than you would think. First Lobo, he's on the cover. Great book. You're spending almost $300 for a 9/8. I feel like that might be fair. I feel like that price range, $250 to $300, probably is fair, maybe a little low, but you'd almost think that most of the DC keys are a little bit low and undervalued. Let's go down to number 5. Silver Surfer Black number 1. This is the second print. Having Null was enough for this book to trend in a big way. Fans late to grab Venom number 3 third print rushed to grab this second print, causing raws to trend at $20 and 9/8s up to $160. 3 years later, prices are pretty stable. This is just a nice to have book for Null fans. It currently sells for $30 raw, a boost and a slight bust in a 9/8 for $150. What can you say about this book? Just a book to own, no real key. $150 for a 9/8 seems a little high to me. Seems a little high, but what the hell do I know? Let's go to number 4. Kanto number 1. 3 years ago, Kanto was the hot new book. A fun story and great art can really help drive sales. Who knew? This variant was hard to find upon release and jumped to $100 raw and 9/8s at $247. 3 years later, this book is doing well. Raws still sell for a break-even $100, though the last 9/8 that sold in April of 2022 went for $1,025. Granted, it's been a while since the last 9/8, but it should still hit pretty high numbers. Definitely more than the 247 from 3 years ago. This is a boost, and the more I see people start to collect and get involved with Kanto, the more I see these prices start to climb. So I'm sure if you have patience, it can come back down if you were interested in it. But I don't know how much can it come down. Not too sure. Let's go to number 3. Marvel Comics presents number 5. 3 years ago, Wolverine's long-lost daughter, I'm not going to say this right. Reine du Rien appeared in 2 panels and narrates the story. Collectors bought the heck out of this issue, pushing it to $30 raw and $150 in a 9/8. 3 years later, it's been a while since we've last seen Rien. However, she does still exist. With the right writer, she does have some long-term potential. Raws are still holding at $30, despite a drop to $70 for 9/8. Break-even raw, a little bit of a bust graded. $70 for a first appearance key in a 9.8, probably a good buy. how much more can it drop? Could it drop to 50? Maybe. I see more potential on this slightly climbing than I do going down. Let's go to number 2. This is Kanto number 1. As noted with the variant, Kanto was the surprise hit of the week 3 years ago. This book was definitely the hottest book on shelves and was trending $20, with the first graded copies selling a month later for $80 in a 9.8. If you recall, widespread damages of this comic were reported by retailers, making high-grade copies harder to find. 3 years later, this now sells for $100 raw, $770 in a 9.8. Despite hitting a height of 1,200 9.8 in March of 2021, this book is a big boost and proves that some flavors of the week can hold their ground. Yes, some flavors of the week can hold their ground, but I just think this one has a big enough fan base. The print run was low enough, plus damages. Kind of had that perfect storm of, okay, big following, low print run, high damage, low 9.8s. Do you see? It all kind of went together in its favor. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, and when I say I'd rather miss these than buy all of the flavor of the week books. I'd rather miss the few that pop than spend all that money on all those other ones. Just my opinion. Before we get to number 1, you know what to do. Check the description down below. There is a link down there for a discounted price. Sorry, I'm doing 2 things at once in my head. For Covrprice, guys, the Covrprice link will get you a discount. Check it out. It's a fantastic tool for pricing books, and even just a tool for your collection. You could put your collection in there, keep tabs on it, watch the values climb, go down, boost, bust with your own personal collection. Great tool, great website. Try it out, and let's get to number 1. This is Marvel Comics Presents number 6. New characters can really sell a book, and this issue's full reveal of Wolverine's daughter, Rien, sold a massive 396 copies in 1 week, with raw sales hitting highs of $75, and a few weeks later, $250 9.8. This still remains as one of Covrprice's hottest new releases. 3 years later, this book now sells for a fair market value of $35 raw, $120 in a 9.8. While this is a bust, this character still has potential. The question is, will she be an X-23 or a Wild Thing? Maybe something in between. Guys, we talked about this book a little bit earlier. $120 for a first full appearance. So you can tell me you can get both books for around the $200 price. Cameo first appearance. Seems kind of fair, especially since we saw highs at $250. Why not? Give it a try. With that, let's close out our numbers. How did we do from 3 years ago? That is the top 10 from 3 years ago. Now, keep this in mind. There were far more boosts than busts, even the ones that had busts were fairly minor drops and still have future potential. A few books skew the numbers. Wolverine, of course. But all in all, this week's list would have treated you very well from 3 years ago. Now, 3 years later, make sure you check out coverprice.com. What's on their current top 10 and movers and shakers list? Guys, come back next time for Covrprice Top 10. We're going back 1 year, doing the same thing 2 weeks from now, talking about 1 year later. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep it comics.